Okay, the council approved the paving contract, remilling in the streets and paving. That starts September 10th. September 4th, which is next Tuesday, we're gonna have a public hearing on the use of generators. We're not gonna stop people from having generators. We want them to get permits, and the reason for that is there's some areas in the city where people run a generator all day long, 8 hours a day. They don't live here. They're rehabbing houses, and they won't get the power turned on. But if you're a neighbor in good weather and you're sitting outside and you hear that generator all day, or your windows are open, so we need to do something. You have to remember that most laws are made for bad people. Unfortunately, they hit good people too. Council approved the sale at 48 West First Street, the old Valero building, for $65,000. The city also entered into an agreement with the county for weights and measures for a 3-year contract for $10,000 a year, and that hasn't changed in quite a few years, which is good. The council approved the intermunicipal agreement between the town of Valney, the county, city of Fulton, and the Surrey County Industrial Development Agency for the 176 and Howard Road wastewater extension. And the city is finalizing the affordable corridor grant that we got for $188,400, and that will go for rehabbing homes, code compliance, and sewer upgrades. So traditionally, we've never done that, but if in the older homes, the old sewer lines between the house and the city's main get bad, very expensive. So we'll be fixing some of those too. Now, that's tied into income eligibility, and to give you an idea, a family of 4 can make $59,300 a year and still qualify. Okay, and that's pretty much what I've got for the city updates right now. And you got some questions, Fred?
We got some questions. People sent in to Oswego County today to ask you. We've got one from Martha. She said, what is going on at the old site of Carroll's on 48 across from the Salvation Army?
There was some contamination there. That's a former site of an industry years ago, and I suspect that they want to redevelop it, but they're doing core samples, probably looking for petroleum, things like that. That belongs to the people who own Thornton's and Rapidos.
So it's not a city-owned property?
No, it's not cities, no.
Thank you. Sean asks, and I'll stumble through these, is there any possible paving repair future for Route 48 that runs by Tops Markets headed towards Minetto past Hannibal Street?
Well, we're going to start the paving this year without looking at the list. I know that that's bad, and we'll be addressing it.
Is that a city street or is that a state?
Well, it's interesting. It's a state route in the town of Granby until you hit the city lines, and then they say it's a state touring route. It's the city's responsibility.
Got it.
Once it hits the town line, the state pays for all the paving. Once it hits the city line, there's a gift for you, Fulton. It's a touring.
Okay, Carol asks, what is going on with the formal rental store across from Hargraves? There have been boards up in the windows and occasionally naked mannequins peeking out, several other closed businesses and vacant buildings. The entire west side strip is really looking awful.
Well, actually, that building she's talking about, there's a guy in there, a contractor on the bottom floor. You're seeing those boards because that's his shop down there. But we had that owner, he lives up north, in court and made him do a lot of repairs on that building. In the middle of buildings, there's people living upstairs. I don't think it looks that bad, to be honest with you. The mannequin, we seen that. We called the owner, told him they needed to take it out. I don't know, it was somebody's silly idea of a joke, but pretty much that's what's going on there. I don't see any change from it, though.
Okay. We have a long one from Derek, and I'm not really going to read the whole thing, but he says a lot of positive stuff, and he's trying to talk to you about it's quite discouraging to see how much of the city has been abandoned on both companies and by people over the last decade. Nevertheless, I, Derek, was excited to learn we are now on the 4th year of the 10-ish dredging operation of Lake, I don't pronounce it right, so thank you. Once complete, this would be a huge incentive for the people to visit the city. However, it seems to be only thing Fulton's decided to pursue that's substantial enough to generate any kind of confidence within the community. We don't need another Dunkin' Donuts, more grocery stores, or fast foods. So what else, if anything, is the city doing to keep the people here and bring people in? Also, can we say with confidence that Fulton is still a city with a future?
Well, good question. And just so Derek knows, I was born right on 4th Street in Fulton. And we have lost a couple industries, Nestle's and Birdseye. And when they left, Nestle's payroll, we lost $22 million a year in the community. And when Birdseye left, we lost 13. The reason they left is because they cannot compete in the state of New York. They both went to Wisconsin, and most of the manufacturing has moved out of New York State. It has a huge hit on the city. Now, the city decided to take the bull by the horns and clear that 24-acre site at Nestle's, and we need development. Now, I know you don't want any more grocery stores, but you probably are alone in that. And as far as fast food, we do have a Taco Bell coming back in, but if you want something different than that, then you need to buy the property and bring it in here, because we just don't do that. You can't regulate it that way. But I think Fulton still is a city with a future. I think once you see the Nestle site redeveloped, and it will happen, and we just got it, most of it tore down last year. It didn't happen overnight. And if you look at other cities that are full of abandoned manufacturing, Fulton's ahead of the curve. Tell me how many are doing what we're doing. We do have a housing corporation that's looking at putting up mixed use housing on the 7th Street side of the Nestle site, and we'll continue to develop that site. Now, looking at the 481 corridor, the old Phase building, I just told you that Taco Bell closed on that property, and they're going to tear those old buildings down and put new ones in there. That's a positive. And I definitely think Fulton's a city with a future, as much as any other struggling city in the state of New York. But we need you to keep positive and keep faith in the city and accentuate the positive when you see it.
One thing that you've said in the past, Mayor, and this comes from Fred from Oswego County today, is that what you kind of say when people talk about businesses coming in here is that there's not a lot you can do to drag them in here or make them buy. Right, yeah. So it has to be something, they have to come and find us on their own or whatever. Is there any way for you to reach out to businesses?
Well, what we do, believe it or not, is we contract with Howard Hanna Real Estate. They're a very big real estate company. They also work with Remax. They're big. And they do market at least our commercial sites. And they also sell the homes we rehab. When you look at Fulton and you look at what you want to bring in here, it's all done by marketing. And they do look at the median income. The median income level drop on Nestle's and Birdseye line. So those people were making good money. I know, I worked there. Last year I worked there, I made $91,000. So that affects it. But when people come in now to market and they see what the median income is, they might say, well, we can't support this type of store or this type of restaurant. But that will change if we keep changing what we're doing. Trying to do is change our housing stock. So instead of just targeting every sale to medium and low income, when we rehab houses, we sell them at market value. So, good example, we just finished one at 39 Wickham. We rehabbed it. We listed it for $127,900 on a Friday. And Monday we had a purchase offer for $127,900, and we closed on it. Those are things, but it's slow. It doesn't come overnight. And you have to have patience. You have to have confidence. Got to be on board.
Everybody's got to be on board.
Right.
And we appreciate these questions. I have one last question. It's a long one, so give me a break here. So a little background for my question. I have a streetlight on my block, which for the last few months has been not functioning correctly. It's on after sunset less than 90% of the time. Others on the block are working, and when it is functioning, it's not only a dim light, but the light from nearly tree almost completely encases it and leaves it, making it the smallest amount of light useless. I contacted my alderman about it, and while he responded the next day to mark the pole and has contacted National Grid about the situation, it has taken 3 weeks with nothing having been replaced or trimmed. I don't blame my alderman or the city of Fulton. It's National Grid's issue. However, in the evening drive-through, the other areas of my ward in the city, other streetlights with similar issues. My alderman has said that National Grid doesn't respond very quickly to these types of calls anymore. So I can't help but think that the city of Fulton isn't the only municipality in central New York to having this problem. My question is to the mayor, would he be willing to contact other cities, villages, towns, and other municipalities about this issue and collectively approach the Public Safety Service Commission about it? There's strength in numbers. The lights are supposed to enhance the safety and security. The city's fiscal situation isn't the best. I for one don't think we should have to be paying the bill for lights that don't work.
I would agree. I will tell you this. When Niagara Mohawk owned the streetlights, they were great. We never had a problem with them. We never had an issue with them replacing bulbs or trimming the trees. And one thing you need to understand there, the thing that's really makes me boil, we're on the streetlight program. And we pay so much a year based on what they call the streetlight tariff, which is set by the Public Service Commission. And if your light is out, we pay for it anyway, like it's on. I will contact the Public Service Commission, but I want to tell you this, Evan, I've had to contact them already this year about Spectrum and the phone company. Because and I had to contact National Grid. To give you an idea of their concern for maintenance in our city, all three of them, we had a pole that was hit by a car accident right by 4th Street School, Voorhees Park, and one of the most popular parks in the city, last July. And it split the pole. I took it right off, cut it right in half. And there was a big jagged piece of the pole sticking out of the ground. National Grid come in and put a new pole in and transferred their wires over. And when I tried to get them to take the rest of the pole out, they said, well, we don't do that because Spectrum and the phone company still has to take theirs off. And whoever's the last one to take it off, they take care of it. Nobody would take care of it. So I called the Public Service Commission, and now it's taken care of. National Grid actually took the old pole out. They said they weren't supposed to, but they would. But I don't believe that, and the reason I say that is I believe they own the poles. If they didn't, why they put a new one in? And probably whoever hit that pole, their car insurance had to pay for it. And who did they pay? So you're getting the T-Berry shuffle when it comes to these guys. In the last 2 or 3 years, they've gotten really bad. I get through the wards and I see where a phone line is off and they wrap it around the pole rather than take it off. So you have to either wrap it around the pole or dodge it when you mow, and the same thing with Spectrum. But what I will do, I'll contact some other cities, but I will reach out to the Public Service Commission and tell them what's going on and echo your concerns. And I appreciate your question, and it's a very valid one.
Okay, thank you, Mayor, and I also appreciate everybody sending in their questions to Oswego County Today. We hope to talk to you next month.
Thank you very much, Fred.